Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Karthik from Center for Corporate and Community Development, University Tunku Abdul Rahman. Today we are presenting Instant Focus Manage Distractions Effortlessly by Mr. Anand Kasibatla from Memory Vision, India. Mr. Anand Kashibatla is a Limca record holder for memory with over 25 years of training experience. He is an international speaker, trainer, and an author who has delivered his workshops in 9 countries. He is an expert on the how-to strategies for focus and memory skills. He is an author of How to Become a Top Student, published from Malaysia, and Instant Memory Improvement, published from Singapore. He works with professionals and business owners to enhance their focus and memory skills so that they can manage distractions. If you have any questions, please type them into the chat box in your Zoom control panel. I will bring them up during the Q&A session at the end of this webinar. To all participants, Utah students and staff, please sign in and sign out in the link posted in the same chat box in your Zoom control panel. Now, without further delay, let us turn the time over to Mr. Anand.
Thank you very much, Karthik, and very good evening, everybody. And I'm so happy to be here. So let me just pull out the slides first, and then we'll get going. Okay. So if you can see the slides, can you see the slides?
Yes, we can see the slides.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, so let's get going. 1 second, let me. Okay, so just like to start with one simple question. And what we'll do is we'll have the interaction on, but in the chat box. So I'm able to see the chat box. So you can actually, put it in the chat. So I'll be able to respond to you in the voice actually. Okay, so let's get started. And I just want to ask you this question. How many of you here want to improve your focus? If you're that person, you can just put me in the chat box. So let's keep it as interactive as possible, because I know that this is not an offline event, but then your participation is very important so that we can keep it alive and active. So if you want to improve, yeah, super. Thank you. Suja, yes, thank you very much. Alina, Chong. Okay, the next question, which is very, very important. All right, and that is, how many of you want to do it easily without any effort? When I say without any effort, I mean that, I would like to give you some strategies with the help of which you will be able to enhance focus in an instantly. That's why we call it instant focus. If you're the person who's looking for enhancing focus easily, just put in me again in the chat box so I know that we are on the same platform. All right, thank you so much. And let me tell you, you're at the right place. And today we'll be exactly discussing that, how we can enhance focus and how we can make it so easy and effortlessly. That's my forte. We'll be talking about that. And first of all, a very big thank you for all of you for joining in, and a big thank you for MMLM, the entire team, and especially Dr. Ling Leong Sik for keeping me in mind and inviting me back. And for me, I feel like MMLM is home for me. I have been associated with MMLM for a very long time, and the first ever event which happened, the first Mind Festival, I was there as a speaker as well. So this is like homecoming for me, and thank you so much for having me here. Okay, let's get going. And this is a bit of introduction very quickly. So I'm India's #1 focus and memory coach with over 25 years of experience, out of which I was actually living in Malaysia for 11 years. I've done a lot of work. I was based out in Kuala Lumpur, and I've done a lot of work there. And I help my participants to double the result in half the time and half the effort. Now, how is this possible? This is by training your mind. Now, once people can train their mind, they'll be able to go to the next level. So that is what we'll be talking about, and how we can go to the next level. And let's get going. And this is my Limca book of records. So those of you who don't know what is a Limca book, it is basically something like the Guinness book, but especially for India. All right. And if you see the date here, I got it back in 1997. I've been doing what I'm doing for a very long time. Yeah. And that was my first ever training, which I did many years ago, 25 years back, I was training people. And if you're wondering where is this guy hiding, so let me just, that's me. Of course, I little look bit different there, but yeah, that's me. And that was 25 years ago. And these are the countries where I worked in. These are the books. And I'm so happy to tell you that, my book, How to Become a Top Student, has been launched in the first Mind Festival in Kampa. So that was where I have launched my book there. And the second one from Singapore. And these are some of the companies. I did a lot of work for Petronas. For almost like 9 years, I did training almost every month. There was a training program leaving the Ramadan months. And I did work for Nestle, Bank Negara, KLA Express. I mean, a lot of companies in Malaysia. I've did my workshops there and some of the companies there. Okay, let's get started. So if you're ready and excited, I'm super excited and ready here. So if you're also excited, can you just put EX or excited in the chat box? So I know that you're also equally excited to be there. Okay, thanks, Salina. Thanks you. Okay, so just as a make sure that if you're running some parallel apps, get them off. The reason is it will not only take away your bandwidth of the system, it will also take your mental bandwidth. We're talking about focus, and you have only X amount of energy mentally, and that will be off if you're running parallelly, because your mind always want to say, hey, let me check my Facebook, let me check my mail. There's no mistake from your side. The mind behaves like that. So, I mean, the lesser the options you give for the mind to run away, the better it will be focused. And that's the reason why I kept this slide as the first slide. So, and this is my favorite quote, which I always share. Every next level of your life will demand a new version of yourself. If you want to, get into the next level, you have to change the way you, I mean, you're with yourself. So you have to get a new version of yourself. And today, that's what we'll be going to do for changing our focus, the capacity to focus. We'll actually reinvent ourselves. And I'm going to give you 5 strategies with the help of which you'll be able to do it very, very effortlessly and very fast. Yeah. So the ability to stay focused is, according to me, the top priority, the number one skill which you have to work on. And what I say is, if you have the luxury of only working on one skill, work on enhancing your focus. If you can work on enhancing your focus, everything else will fall in place also. Whether you're mixing coffee, whether you are driving a car, whether you are performing a surgery, it really doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, if your focus is a bit better, you will be able to take the results to the next level. So that's the reason why I say focus is one skill which you have to really work on. And we'll be talking about some strategies. And I'm sure you have heard about this story about the hare and the tortoise, where the hare loses the race. And why I'm showing this slide in the beginning, even though you know the story, is I want to draw a lesson from this story, which will help you to understand how the focus works. Like if you just look at your real life, in life, when people don't get results, probably it's not because of their capacity to get the results. It probably simply could be they're lost in something. In the story, we maybe the hare lost in sleep. In life, probably we lost in Netflix, we lost in WhatsApp, we lost in something which is happening, or maybe these days we're all lost in COVID. The mind is totally occupied by something else and we don't perform. And there's nothing wrong with the focus. It's basically, we get lost. That's what happens. And that's what is one of the reasons for lesser results in life, even though we have a huge capacity. Let's get going. And focus shifts everything. And that is my belief, and that's what I always want everybody to work on also. And this is one thing which I've seen. I have not created this, by the way. I've seen this on Facebook, and I thought it's so amazing. It can't get simpler than this. Follow one course until successful. So simple, right? It's very simple to display it. It's very simple to read, but trust me, it is not that simple to actually implement in life. And by the strategies which I'll be working, we'll be working on this journey. It's not that by the end of this session you'll be just on and off in one moment. That's not going to happen. But still, you'll have a lot of tools with the help of which you can work around your focus and make sure you have a best focus available to you at that moment. So that's what we'll be working on. And I just want to very quickly ask you in the chat box, can you just say what impacts focus according to you? When I say impact, I'm talking about the effect. What affects focus, either positive or negative? What impacts focus? Some ideas, please, something in the chat box. Okay, either positive or negative, doesn't matter. What will either take your focus positively or negatively? What will increase your focus or decrease your focus? It doesn't matter. So you can just keep whatever ideas which you can get. No answers? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Okay. Uh, WhatsApp. Okay. Tasks don't get done easily. Okay. Something difficult. Okay. Something which is taking a lot of your time affects focus. That's true. Any other things which you can think of? Okay, let me give some ideas. And when I ask this question, normally the first thing which comes up is distractions. Distractions is more focus, more success. Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks for that. Okay, let's move on. And one thing I want to share is the work habits. Yeah, distractions. Theo, thank you very much, Theo, for that. Your work habits. How do you work? As in, or you, when you're listening to a lecture, or you seated, or you lying down, or what way you're working, that is going to decide how much focus you're going to have. Your emotional state, are you happy, are you sad, are you excited, are you feeling dull? So that also is going to decide the amount of focus which you'll have. Your goals, whether you have goals or you don't have, and how strong are you associated with your goals. The people with goals will have a higher focus, and the people with no goals will have no focus or very less focus, because goals drive focus actually. And then your physical comfort and health, if it is too cold or if it is too warm, probably your focus will not work again. And your mental attitudes, your environment, your willpower, your mental awareness, how aware are you, that is also going to make a lot of difference. And then of course your sleep. And this is not a complete list, this is something which is suggestive. It's not comprehensive, there are a lot of things. Yes, interest is also very important, Vincent, thank you very much. How interested are you in the activity, that is going to make huge difference as well. So these are just some of the things. Of course there are a lot of other things also, but I just want to make one summary statement, and that is here. What impacts focus? The answer is everything. Everything you do and everything you don't do is either taking your focus up or focus down. While attending to this webinar, is your camera on or camera off? That is also going to decide whether your focus is high or low. Whether you're having coffee or whether you're just listening, whether you're taking notes, you're not taking notes, everything you do, everything you don't do is going to make a huge impact on focus. All right, that's one thing which I want to share on. And having said that, so let's get into, I want to introduce you to some people where they don't have any problem in focusing. Do you think that these guys have any problem in focusing? The trapeze artists, those you're doing acrobats, acrobatics at a very high altitude, they are just focused. It comes so naturally to them. They are not disturbed. They're like, even the 1,000 people down there, they're not disturbed at all. So this is one person, one set of people. And I want to introduce you to another set of people who don't have any problem in focus. And this guy, can you imagine this guy's having a problem in focus ever in their life? Vincent, they're just not trained. Of course, they're trained. Thank you very much, Vincent, for that. Apart from getting trained, something also is at stake. Their life is at stake. If they don't focus, they're gone. Mati, like you say in Malaysia, right? Done, right? Okay, so here also the same thing. This guy cannot, think that, okay, I'm getting delayed, so let me send a message to my girlfriend. Okay, I'm coming in 5 minutes. Okay, la, just coming back now. Cannot happen, because the moment you are in this kind of a situation, you can't think of anything else on the planet, because the life is at stake. And one thing I want to tell you, in the real life, I mean, those people don't have any problem. But if you look at me, if you look at every one of us, probably we have a lot of problem in focusing. The reason is, in our real life, we don't have a life and death situation on a very many times. Hardly. Now let's say, I mean, because we're talking about the university, I'm just want to give a fun example. Let's say, there's a teacher here, or professor. So in your class, I'm sitting in the front row, and then if I'm sleeping, all right, would you kill me? Probably not. The maximum you say is, okay, Anand, get out of the class. Or maybe go and see the principal, or maybe suspend me for 2 days. That's all about it. I have no life or death situation in general life. And people always ask why I am not able to focus. Let me tell you, that's a wrong question to ask. The question is not that why I'm not able to focus. The question should be why I am not able to prioritize. If your priority is higher, your focus is higher. If your priority is lower, your focus, of course, is lower. So prioritization is more very, very critical. And I'm sure you would all of you agree that in a situation where it's like a very important situation where your focus is very, very essential. I'm sure most of you did not have that kind of a problem, right? When you're sitting for exams and you're preparing for exams and there's only very less time, somehow you sit down and focus. Now when you're on some kind of a medical emergency or something like that, people are super focused on what they're doing, right? The thing is, it's not that we don't have a we have a problem with focus. It's that we have a problem with prioritizing. So if you can prioritize, you'll be able to make focus easily accessible to you. If you agree, can you just put agree in the chat box, so I know that we are on the same plane, so that we can we'll go to the next level, because now I'll be starting to give some strategies as well. Yeah. Okay, thank you Fazlina, thank you Himangi. Okay, let's go further up. And I want to talk about this guy for a while. I'm sure I actually miss my days in Malaysia. Football, very, very interesting. So I used to wake up at 1:30, 2 o'clock, drive a long distance and sit down in a old town coffee, and then look at the big screens of football. And I miss that all fun. But let's talk about this particular picture. And this image has everything to talk about focus. You can draw a lot of lessons from here. Before I give my strategies, I would like to share the lessons which you can learn from the focus from this particular slide. If you look at Messi, I'm sure I've never met Messi in person, but I think I can safely assume that he's not deaf. Now, why I can assume is that I never read in news that, okay, Messi being specially challenged, he's a world-class player. I never heard something like that. If he was deaf, then probably would have been on news everywhere. I don't think he's deaf. But have you seen that, when Messi is playing football, there are about 100,000 people in the stadium, everybody shouting. Do you think he's distracted? The answer is a big no. The answer is a very big no. There's reason, because he's actually, I mean, one thing, as Vincent was talking about, maybe training, but I would say it's more than training. It is his choice. He did not choose to get distracted. I still remember in Bukit Jalil Stadium, there's a match, a football match between Singapore and Malaysia, and there were apparently huge crowd was there, and a lot of people making a lot of noise, but the game went on because the players, even though there's a lot of disturbance happening, they choose not to get distracted. Look at this picture. This picture is amazing. Whoever has taken that picture, just look at it. He was actually focusing on Messi kicking the ball. And have you seen everything else disappeared? The background is not seen. And this is what exactly happens in life. When you start focusing on something seriously, whatever is in the background, that will not be disturbing you. Now I just want to share one very, very powerful thought, and I think this will help you if you can uh, use this into it. Yeah, they choose and not try to be distracted. Exactly. Perfect. Distractions need your approval. This is one big thing. Distractions need your approval. Unless you approve, something will not be a distraction. And today I'm going to share with you on how you can take the approval system back. And pre-approval is not a very good idea. Pre-approval is only good for loans. You want to take a loan, if the loan is pre-approved, bagus, very good. But then if it is distraction, it is definitely not good. Okay, so now let's look at what need to be done, what can be done to enhance your focus, the 5 things. So what I want to talk about is, this is very simple, very important. Every thought is an expense. Think about this. Every thought is an expense. It can be you want to eat maybe stingray for your dinner. one thought. Or maybe you want to go to maybe Universal Studio, or you want to buy something in Subang. All right, buy a property in Subang. Yeah. Now it can be small thing like having a dinner, or it can be a big thing like buying a property in Subang Jaya. Also is like it's an expense. Now when I say expense, something need to go out, right? Now what is going out? When I say expense, what is going out? Now let me tell you, what is going out is when I say it's expense, it is not about the money. It's something which is behind money, which is something more expensive than money. Money you can get back, no problem. But what is going out by thinking, every thought, there are five things, not just one thing, there are five things going out as an expense. And the space, the mental space, whatever you're thinking, it is occupying a bit of your space. And let me tell you, you don't have unlimited space. All these things which I'm going to tell you, they are limited resource. They're not unlimited, right? So one is your space. Two is your mental energy. You're not an energizer bunny to go on and on and on. You have got a limited energy and you have to honor that. If you're throwing out energy onto every damn thing, yeah, energy, space, and of course, time, Vincent, superb. And also emotion. Emotion, you have, the emotion also has a limit. You know, emotion has a limit. So the next one is time. And of course, your focus, your attention also is a limit. Now, you know what generally happens? Of course, I trained myself, so it doesn't happen to me a lot. But what generally happens, that people are sitting at one place, but at the same time, they are thinking about a lot of other things. Oh, when are we going to, lockdown is going to go off? When can I go and, yum cha with my friends? And, a lot of things are there in the mind, right? So that is where it's taking your mental energy is being dissipated, and it goes everywhere. Now how do you handle all this and what all things happen? So let's get into that. And what I want to say is, if you want to have instant focus, you have to build your DAD. It's not dad, but it's not D.A.D. So DAD, that is called defense against distractions. And let me tell you, the distractions are going to be there. You cannot say, hey, you know what? I'm focusing. Please stop distracting me. Things don't work like that. All right. So you have to have a defense against distraction. Now, just to put in the current day scenario, COVID is there. Now, things did not work. The medical system failed. A lot of things fail. The COVID is still going on. So what do we have? We have a defense. So maybe double mask, maybe, use hand sanitizer, or you use whatever you are as a defense mechanism. It's always there, but then now we're actually defending ourselves, right? So similarly, the distractions are always there. You got to build your own defense. The moment you build up defense, your focus will be staying back wherever it is. Okay, so let's move on and let's talk about what happens and the five things which I was talking about to handle them. Now, normally what people do is when there's a distraction, they always blame. Hey, you know what? Because of that noise, I'm not able to focus. Oh, this guy's running out here. There's a phone ringing. A lot of things they'll talk about. And because of this, I got distracted. They always try to blame. By blaming, what you're doing is you're actually giving power away to the other people, right? So instead of blaming, how to defend? Any good techniques? Yes, I'm Vincent. I'm going to give you 5 techniques to defend. All right. So to start with, that 5 are very, very powerful. Thanks for asking that, Vincent. Okay, so let's move on. The 5 things. The first one. So if you see the word blame, so I always say, don't blame, use blame. BLAME. So there are 5 things which I'm talking about. BLAME. Each letter signifies a step or a strategy which you can use to take your focus to the next level, or to build a strong defense mechanism. So the first one, let's go ahead and see. The first one is called break time. Now, what is break time all about? Now, there's something called as attention span of mind. How long your mind can actually focus on, the attention span. Any quick guesses? What's the attention span of mind? Any quick ideas? What is the supposed attention span supposed to be? Oh, 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, that's good. That's probably actual, but what was the supposed attention span of mind? 1 hour, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Okay, great. So I have seen in psychology books of psychology, they always say that the attention span of mind is roughly, depends on age. We'll talk about that. 7 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay, great. So it says that it's roughly about 45 minutes, 45 minutes. Supposed to be. No, whatever supposed to be, life don't work like that, right? So we have done a lot of things to mess it up. And anyways, when I say 40 minutes, it's like, the mind cannot capture more than 40 minutes of singular one-way traffic kind of a thing. And that's the reason why, if you remember all the schools we have studied, maybe worldwide, each subject period length is about 35 minutes to 45 minutes. It's not an accident. It is like honoring your attention span. All right. So what you need to do is make sure that you work in accordance with that. Now, a lot of people, what they do is, oh, I got to get this done, so let me sit down for 2 hours and get it over with. No, no, no. Life doesn't work like that. You may have an intent to work for 2 hours, but the focus cannot work. Yeah. Yes, that's right. So we can, because a movie is a fun activity. So it is not, it's just enjoying there. Whereas, when you tend to work, it takes a very long, it takes a lot of effort. Yeah, 20 minutes in between. Got it. Okay. Now, what you need to do for break time is very simple. And there are a lot of ways in which the world is operating on, or, working strategies with that. So my simple strategy is, work in breaks. So work for about 30, 40 minutes, just have a short break, work for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, short break, work for another 30, 40 minutes, and have a short break. By doing this, what happens is your mind will not get tired. If you want to focus, you have to have mental energy reserve. If you're continuously working, you'll not only have physical fatigue, which is like, out of my syllabus for now, but the mental fatigue will be very, very, very high. You can't stay put for hours together. Even you have a high intent, you don't have, the mind will not have that kind of a capacity. So break your time into shorter spans. And there's another thing which people do, they call it as Pomodoro. Work for 20 minutes and short break, 20 minutes short break, 20 minutes and short break. Now, by working in short breaks, what exactly happens is, in the break time, your mind will be recovering that fatigue of focus. So the focus will come back. You'll be able to churn out more work. You'll be less fatigue. Your mind will be, there'll be less fatigue for the mind. And because it is strong enough, it will not get distracted easily. If the mind is having a lot of fatigue, a lot of tiredness, it can get distracted very easily. Whereas here, what you're doing is you're keeping it, in very good condition. So your mind's fatigue levels will be lower. So your focus will be very, very high. So that's about the break time. So if it is clear, can you just put a B in the chat box, so I know that it's clear, and then we go to the next one. All right. Thank you. Okay, superb. So B is done. Now let's get into L. L is very important, and that is limit attention. You have to limit your attention. Now, what I mean by attention is, what I mean by limit attention is, whatever is in front of you, whether you like or you don't like, it is actually you're processing something, and your mind is always, think of something. Let's say, for example, I am talking, and it doesn't happen with me. Again, I'm just for an example. I am talking to somebody, and then, I just look around, and there's a calendar there. And on the calendar, there's a picture of snow. Okay. Then I get reminded of Christmas. When I get reminded of Christmas, I get reminded of the rum cake. And then I get reminded of Sri Hartamas. And Sri Hartamas, something else, and something else, and something else. And one trigger is over. Now, the lesser things there in front of you, the visual distractions, the better focused you are. Now, let's say, for example, as I am talking to you, right in front of my table, it's just, okay, let me pick it up. There's this hand sanitizer. Okay. The moment I see the hand sanitizer, I think, hey, wow, this is about to finish. Huh? So let me go to Amazon and order some sanitizer. Now, is sanitizer anyway linked to the MMLM festival and the conversation which you're having? No. But because it is available here, this is what is hitting your mind, and you got to limit attention. Let me tell you an interesting incident which happened long back. It's it's a funny incident as well. I was in a restaurant with one of my friend, and he was having some challenge in the sense, we're having some discussion. And I told him, hey, yeah, it's just a because we're two of us, we're just talking, So I told him, hey, you know what? Whenever you are saying anything after I am, is very, very important. All right. You should be very careful when whatever you say after I am, it's very important because that is what will manifest and that is what will happen. And this is like a very serious conversation which was happening. And I asked this guy, do you get it? Yeah, I said, yeah. So I asked him, what do you get? He said, I am goreng. I said, hello. I said, not I am goreng. So I said, bukan I am. I was saying me, okay. And he said, oh, then you know what he said? He said, me goreng. Now what happens is there's a visual right in front of you and it's always hitting things, right? And every time I see the image of even right today also, if I see KLCC or Twin Towers, what's the first thing which comes to my mind? Roti Boy. Amazing stuff, right? I don't know how many of you, I don't know whether still it is available or not. That's my first place where I go to KLCC Surya is to buy Roti Boy. All right. So that's what happens. When your attention is there, it will trigger off something. So make sure that visually there are not many triggers around. So the best idea is when you're sitting down and working, make sure, let's say, for example, I mean, there are some students I assume here. So when students are studying, if there are a lot of books along on the table when they're studying of various subjects, the mind is so focusing on what they are doing, they just go there and the mind will be saying, oh, I have to read this also, this also, this also, alamak, so much work to do, right? But then if you are having one book, one subject, just work on that one. The moment your mind sees something, your eye sees something, your mind will go in different tangent and you are neither here nor there. That's very, very important. So limiting your attention is very important. So if that is clear, can you just put L in the chat box so I know that the L part is clear? So that, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Alina, Leona, Fazlin, Toon, Mangi, Tan, Chi, Yap. Wow, so much. Thank you so much. So let's move to the next one. B done, L done. Next one is A. And the A is extremely important and you have to work on the A. Now, what is that A all about? The A is called active disengagement. I have to tell you something which will probably make you very happy. And that is, if you're not focused, it's not your mistake. How cool is that? A lot of people say, you're not focused, it's your mistake, right? Of course, it's your mistake also, but let's go on a very deeper level why people have a challenge. Now, what I'm going to tell you is something very interesting. And this is, many, many, many years ago, probably like, 100,000 years ago, or maybe, 50, I don't know, 50,000 years ago, exactly when it exactly happened, I'm not sure. There is something happened. And because of that, all of us are paying the price even right today. And what has happened is that time, like I'm talking about the old Stone Age when people were living in jungles, we don't have any security, we don't have buildings, we don't have restaurants, everything is in the open, right? Now that time, the nature was very, very kind to us and it has given us a gift. And you know what's the gift? That's the gift of survival, right? And what gift is that? It's the gift of listening. Just imagine this. You're in the jungle and then you hear some sound, some sound. Now, what does it mean? Only two things: threat or opportunity. You have to act on that immediately. You have to react. There's no option, there's no time. You have to react. It can be a tiger. If it's a tiger, you better run. Why? Because you will become its meal otherwise. All right. But if it's a deer, if it's a rabbit, then what? Of course you run. Why? Because otherwise you will not have your meal. Because it's not like, not like today. We're like hunter-gatherer kind of a people, right? So if I don't get my meal today, don't know when we'll get the meal, the next meal. That time it was like that. So you get a meal, you better eat it. So it's a survival mechanism, a survival gift. If I can listen to what's happening around, if I can react on that and take action immediately, I will survive. Either I'll survive from the attack or I will survive from the hunger. All right. So this is what is the gift. And you know what? Now we don't need this gift at that level. It's not a survival gift anymore. But humans being humans, we don't return the gift. Once we take it, we just want to keep it and hang on with that. So we have not given back the gift. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying give away your hearing skills, okay? I'm just saying actively disengage it. Now why and what, I'll tell you. Now what's happening today, if you see, if somebody, wherever you're sitting in your life right now, wherever you're sitting, like physically where you're sitting right now, if somebody moving around you, let me tell you, that's not a life threat. There's no life threat. Now why it's not a life threat? Because maybe the other person might have moved 4 or 5 security layer to come into the room which you're sitting. Maybe first, the wherever you are, the guard house is there, then the reception, then maybe the room which you're sitting in. I mean, there are a lot of layers of security which are there. Sometimes people have to cross 5, 6, 7 layer security to reach your place. All right. Now there's no life threat. At the same time, there is no life-saving opportunity. Now just look, think of this. Now, if you just go and open your refrigerator door, probably you will have food for 2 to 3 days at least there, at least 2 to 3 days. And because of the lockdown everywhere, there are a lot of people who keep a reserve of 1 month. So 1 month, no food, no going out, they still survive because the food is stocked. So if you just see, there's no life threat or a life-saving opportunity which is there by listening. Now, what is the impact which has happened in our life is because we're still operating from that place, from the gift which you have got. So what's happening in life is, so let's say you're in a science class or whatever class you're in, you're just listening, and somebody behind you, and you know what? Everybody will turn and look at it. You're in an office room or you're in a house, and there's a cup breaking sound which came from the kitchen or the pantry. Now everybody will be, oh, what has happened? They'll just go and see there. Now why? It's because we are operating from that thing where if some sound is coming up, if I don't react to it, it is life threatening for us. Now that's what the activity which we're working on. So how do you activate this, do this active disengagement? It's a very simple process. It only takes 5 minutes a day, and people have reported an amazing result on this. Now what you got to do? Very simple. So for 5 minutes, tell yourself, okay, I'm going to disengage that active listening. So I'm not going to respond. So pretend deaf. Okay, just okay, some sound coming there, okay, you heard it, you got distracted, but don't acknowledge it. Maybe as I'm talking to you, there's a phone ringing, I don't acknowledge that. Okay, it's list, I heard it, yes, it's ringing, but I still don't acknowledge. By doing this, what you're doing is you're disengaging that reaction mode, and you're putting a response layer. Then you will know that, hey, after doing this for a few days, oh, if I don't react instantly, there's no death. On a thinking level and experiential level, you will actually realize that. And then the ball comes into your court, and you got a chance to take your decision. Rather than just react, you will start responding. And by doing this for a few days, you'll be surprised to see that you'll have enormous control on distractions. You won't get distracted as easily as you would have been normally. Just try it out and you'll be surprised. So that is about active disengagement. In active disengagement, you simply have to, for 5 minutes a day, for a couple of days, just pretend deaf. Or don't say that, somebody's calling you, you're hearing, and okay, act deaf, okay. Not that. So pretend deaf as if, to disconnect the reaction part. All right. So that is about A. So if A is clear, active disengagement clear, can you just put A in the chat box so I know that it's clear, and we'll move to the next one, which is M. All right, super. Okay, so let's go to the next one, which is M. M stands for mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is a huge topic, but I'm not talking at that level. I'm talking about the simple mindfulness practice. I call it as a micro practice, small thing, small thing. Now, very small thing. Now, what is mindfulness all about? Like, it is basically trying to witness something without the judgment, just see it. And that is what is mindfulness all about. I mean, it's saying it is very simple, but yeah, that is basically the definition of mindfulness. So what I want you to do is Practice micro mindfulness sessions on a daily basis. Now it will take 3 to 5 minutes, or maybe, yeah, about 5 minutes. You can do this mindfulness exercise. And just to give you, I mean, this is a very popular cartoon I have seen on, not a cartoon, it's like a strip kind of a image on newspaper. So yeah, mindful or mindful. This guy, while he's going for a walk, instead of enjoying what is, he's thinking about his job, the payment, the cards, the kids, everything in life is getting there. So his mind is actually full. Whereas the dog there, it's just enjoying what is. Now that is actually being mindful. Now, when you are mindful, you have a capacity, right? So you have a capacity when you are mindful to actually focus on anything else, because all these thoughts which I'm talking about, everything which is happening here is actually a what do you call, it's an expense to the mind, right? The lesser and lesser you process, the better things you have on your platter, which you can use it for what you choose. So mindful. And how can you do a small micro mindfulness practice? Very simple. uh, Enjoy a coffee mindfully. Now what I mean by that, next time when you go to Old Town White Coffee uh, thing, just sit down there, order for your coffee, whatever drink you want to order, tetare or tesi or whatever thing. Just sit down and tell yourself, the only reason I am born is to enjoy this cup of coffee. That's it. Just sit with your coffee, sit with your cup of coffee, sip it and enjoy every sip for 5 minutes until the coffee is over. Let the world go to hell. Just be with your coffee. Now, what it does is this will give you a lot of practice and power to decide where you want to put your mind. Of course, there's thoughts which will come up when you're having a coffee, then you'll get a thought, oh, 4 o'clock, I have a meeting. Oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. But it's okay. Then just gracefully come back to the uh, coffee at hand. Just tell yourself, okay, my only purpose in life for now is to enjoy this coffee. That's it. Very simple, very powerful. It can be coffee, it can be, what other things which I do is, I've got some plants in my house. So I go take my camera. Of course, my camera is my phone. So I just go out and take the pictures of my plants. So this flowers coming up, so just take close-up shots and all this kind of things. And anybody who sees me do that, they think that I'm a professional photographer, or I do spend a lot of time on that. So I'm not that, but I do it as a mindfulness exercise. Morning, I wake up and you say, okay, this is a couple of flowers. I want to take pictures. And I take pictures as if rest of the world doesn't matter to me. When I'm with the pictures, taking with the flowers, I am there just with the flowers. All right. So it can be a cup of coffee. It can be anything. Yeah, exactly, Vincent. This is what where the training comes in, and that's the reason why when you have I mean, a lot of times. Thank you, Vincent, for asking this. Now, Vincent says sometimes there's a problem which is happening in mind, and that time it is very, very difficult to be mindful. The problem basically is we never sit down and train ourselves, right? Now, here what you're doing is you have no problem, but you're trying to pay attention on one particular thing. You're by doing all the BLAM so far, what you're trying to do is you're taking charge of your brain or your thinking pattern or your mind. So next time you have a problem, you'll have a lot of strength to handle that, because so far there's no exercise which has not been done, so it becomes looks like difficult. But here what you're doing is you're building up your strength, and that's where your focus can be back instantly. When you have some problem coming up, then you'll stop saying that, hey, like you simply said, my cup of coffee is my most important thing, my job is most important, my debugging of this software is important, me talking to my client is important. And you can put whatever thought is coming up, you can actually slide it away, because by that time you will get some capacity. Okay, Vincent, thanks for asking. I want to share a very interesting example, and that is, your brain. Now I'm talking at a neurological, physical level, okay? Or your brain don't care why you're doing what you're doing. Its only job is to make you better at whatever you're doing. All right. Example. Let me give an example. So every day morning, I go to the market to get some milk. All right. And when I'm coming back, there's a dog which is there, and it starts barking at me and starts chasing. Somehow it don't like me. So to save myself, I run. The best part about the dogs is they have one territory. After that, they don't chase you. So I just run out of the territory. And the best part is like every day, the same thing happens. For the last 6 months is the same thing which is happening. It's not true, but let's say if it is true, you know what? I would have been a better runner than what I was 6 months ago, because the brain don't care. Am I running because I'm scared of dog? I'm running because I am late. Am I running because I want to practice for marathon? The brain don't care that. It will make me better in running. When you do BLAM consciously, you will get this capacity to, direct your attention as you like. And when a problem comes in, you have got built up that capacity, and with the capacity, you can actually, handle that. Okay, super. So that's about mindfulness, and do a micro mindfulness practice. And I am not against like the power of now and all those things. They're very big, very powerful. Please go through that also. But try doing little things which you can do right now without any, lot of practice or anything. So this is like a very good simple exercise. So BLAM done. So if it is clear, can you just put M in the chat box so I know that mindfulness is done, and we'll go to the next one. All right, thank you so much. So let's go for the next one, BLAM, and then you have E. E is very simple. It is eliminate distractions. Now hold on, you're thinking, hey, you said that distractions are going to be there. You cannot eliminate them. Yeah, of course, you cannot eliminate distractions. So there's one letter which is there, eliminate obvious distractions. Whatever is obvious, at least eliminate that. All right. So for example, there's a lot of times people talk to me and say, hey, you know what, Anant, I get distracted. So can you help me out? I say, okay, what's that all about? Can you tell me more about it? They say, hey, you know what, when I'm doing my online reading, so the Facebook message comes up and it just sucks me into the Facebook. Or, I get this WhatsApp message ping, then, my mind gets disturbed and, my focus goes for a toss. This is amazing. When people know that the WhatsApp is creating problem, Facebook notification is creating problem, why don't you shut it down? Now for this, what you need to do is just think about this. Just sit down for 5 minutes, maybe today or maybe tomorrow Sunday. You can take some time and think about this. What distracts me? And your answers can be totally different to somebody else's answers. So what distracts me? Okay, is it people walking around? Is it AC? Like I still remember, oh my god, when I was in Malaysia, there's some malls and training seminars, training rooms. They have artificial winter, very very chilly. I used to always carry a jacket. It could be sound pollution also. So it was always chilly for me. So it's so cold, I can't handle stuff. So what I used to do is every time I go into a seminar room, I used to always look for, okay, which is safe. There's no vent right above my head. So then I can go and sit in that place, because I know I get distracted by cold air. So it could be sound pollution. It could be, food, smell of food. Now, coffee is my weakness. When there's smell of coffee, is like, I'm in a next level, different zone altogether. I love coffee. So people get distracted for various things. So you know what? Very simple instructions in my house. So when I'm in a webinar, when I'm taking class, nobody in my house makes coffee. That's a rule. And if somehow somebody wants to make a coffee, they'll always bring my cup with me and give it to me, because I made it very clear. I get distracted with coffee. So please don't make coffee when I'm in training programs, or, I do a lot of one-to-ones. I do a lot of coaching sessions. So they always say, okay, here is my coffee. So I make my arrangement like that. Okay. So when you know what distracts you, you can actually eliminate them. Unless you sit down and think about this, you will never know what is distracting you. You'll only know after you got distracted. Now, by making a list of thinking once about what is distracting you, you'll actually think about a lot of things, and then you'll say, oh, this is coming up distracting. So if it is people distracting you, you can always close your door, or you can put up a no disturbance sign. If it is the internet notifications, you can actually log out of your Facebook before you start studying. You can work out on your own ideas when it comes to that, right? So that is about eliminate distractions, and by eliminating the distractions, you'll be surprised, your focus is always, it gets to the next level, because every thought is an expense. Every distraction, sucks your mental energy. So you got to manage that in a very good manner. Okay, so B, L, A, M, and E. So if it all made sense, can you just put B, L, A, M, E, so I know that it's making sense? All right, super. I hope you're not blaming me, right? So it is the blame. Thank you. Okay, so this is one thing I would like to share here, and this is one of the things which I like. Uh, in which direction is a train going? Is it going into the tunnel or out of the tunnel? What do you think? You can just put it in the chat box. Is a train going into the tunnel or out of the tunnel? Yeah, both also can. It depends on how you are looking at it. All right. So, okay, let me just, I think it's, okay. It can be on anyway. I mean, it's, if you say it's going in, yeah, sure, that's right. It depends on what you think. And if you see that it's unlimited coaches, whether it's going into the tunnel or going out of the tunnel, it is unlimited coaches. And why I'm ending my talk with this slide is very, very simple reason. And the reason is your focus is always either going down or going up. It is never standard or status quo like that. Everything you do, everything you don't do, it's either going up or going down. Okay, if you don't do anything, of course it's like the path of least resistance, going down, and for there is no limit of going down. People get distracted by a drop of a hat, some small noise, they get distracted. All right, and if you stop blaming and you start using BLAME, that's where you're taking responsibility. The moment you take responsibility and do something about it consciously, it will go up, your focus will go up. And again, when it is going up, there's no limit again. So it's all about you taking some action, you standing up and saying what you can do to enhance your focus. So these are the yeah, what happened to the tortoise story? Very simple. Now the tortoise actually, basically, when you look back at the story, the hare got distracted by sleep. In real life, people are getting distracted by a lot of things. When you stop getting, okay, now Vincent, this is an example for you. Let's say I am reporting to you. I'm just going to example. Okay, I'm reporting to you and you say, okay, can you get the number of Karthik? So I say, okay, Karthik's number. So I open my phone book and I'm looking for number of Karthik. And suddenly, as somebody sends a message, oh, that's a video message. Oh, I say, wow, it's so great. So I'll send it to somebody else, and then they send me a message. I get lost in the conversation, and 10 minutes later, I don't know why on the planet I picked up the phone in the first instance, right? And then I say, okay, is it that I can't do that? It's just a 30-second job. Now, what has happened, why I lost my productivity, why I did not get the result, is simply because I got distracted into something else which is happening. Okay, so that's the thing. And yeah, so these are my coordinates if you have any questions. So, okay, I'm here for questions. So let me just stop share so that we can take questions. Just give me a second. Okay, so that was the why do we get distracted easily? The reason behind that is basically Adeline. Okay, why we get distracted is because we never put up a defense mechanism right in the first place at all. We just get distracted, we never think about it, and we always say, okay, people always say something very interesting. They say, hey, you know what, I lost my focus because I got distracted. That's what people always say. I lost my focus because I got distracted. The reality is, I got distracted because I lost my focus. Now, people get distracted easily because they are not focusing on one particular goal. So, Adeline, I don't know if you're a student or an executive, but I can just give one example, simple example. I'm sure most of the times, let's talk about this webinar itself or any other webinar. I'm sure most of the people do attend webinars, seminars, classroom sessions. Okay, you're an MSc student, right? Okay. I mean, this question is directly for Adeline, and this is for everybody else also. And that is, how many times when you sat down in your classroom, did you tell yourself, I want to focus on what my teacher is talking about? Having a desire to focus, having a desire to remember, that's okay, I respect that. But in the war ground or zone, have you ever told yourself consciously, I want to focus on what my teacher is going to talk about? Did you ever tell yourself before you open the book, I want to focus so that, I will remember what I am reading? We just open the book, we just read, there are 200 things happening. The moment you take a decision, I want to focus, when you intend, other things will stop happening. Okay, how to overcome trauma to stay happy and focus. So yeah, this is a very long subject, uh, Soumya. Sumaya. Yeah, sorry, Sumaya. It's a very long subject, so I think the time will not permit that question. Yeah. Can we have the slides? I think you can actually have the recording. Karthik will help you for recording. And if you want to have the slides, you can just send an email to me. I'll send you the slides, no problem. Absolutely, for your reference. Any questions? If you have any questions, we can have it in the chat box. Can you have my email address? Yes, sure. You can have my email address. It is memorycoachanant@gmail.com. So let me just put it in the MEMORY, memory, COACH, coach, ANANT, ant. That's how I spell my name, ant@gmail.com. So that's there here. But just put MMLM in the chat box, so I know subject line, so that I know whom I'm talking to. Yeah. Yeah, Indians speak too fast. I know. And when I was living in Malaysia, my speed has gone so down. I still remember the days. My first presentation in Malaysia was in Sunway Lagoon. There were 700 audience, and I was super prepared for the presentation and excited. And I went on the stage, and then da 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 da. Any question? 60% of the audience put up the hand. I was thinking I made the best presentation on the planet, and so many hands going up. I said, oh my god, what's this? And I asked, okay, what's the question? And some people said, can you go a little bit slower? Okay. Now after I came back to India, my speed has shot up again. So yeah, but anyway, that's there. Yeah, recording, you will have it in the Facebook as well. You can also get in touch with Karthik or send an email, so we'll try to see arrange for that. Most welcome to you. So any more questions? So Karthik, I am done. So if you have questions, we are here.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Anil. I think there's another question, one question.
Yeah.
From Angela. Do you have any tips to be motivated to do things? I found myself getting distracted because I lost motivation while doing something.
Okay. Great, Angela. So for getting motivated, one thing I want to tell you is ask yourself one. Let's say, for example, last week I was talking to somebody. Not even last week. It's about 4 days now. She's Indian, so she's 50 years old and wanting to do a PhD. And 3 years, nothing happened. And she says, I'm not motivated, I don't know, things are not working, is there anything which we can do? And I think probably it's a similar kind of thing. And I told her something very simple, and she got very good benefit. And what I want to tell you is the same simple thing. Now whatever is that you are lost motivation on, so I just give you the example of that PhD, so you can actually correlate with yourself. So I just asked her, sit down and write 20 reasons why you wanted to do the PhD in the first place. Now what happens in life is you decide something, and then you're doing something, and things like COVID happens. Now all schools go offline suddenly, or something happens, and suddenly you get lost with the touch of that thought. Now when you sit down and write not one or two reasons, write 20 reasons, your mind is wired to think, okay, why else I want to do a PhD? Oh, okay, I will get a better job. Oh, why else I want to do my PhD? Oh, I'll get a whatever thing. Just write about 20 reasons. By the time, what happens is your mind will be wiring back at it. When you have a reason, you have to find your why. Now why is the motivation? And borrowing from John C. Maxwell's quote, he says, when you know your why, you will find your way, and your way will be very, very powerful that time. Oh, I see, Mr. Rong. Very good afternoon, Mr. Rong, and thank you for the opportunity. I've enjoyed speaking back in the MMLM once again.
Okay, yeah, it looks like we have covered all of our questions.
Yeah.
So we would like to take a group photos with everyone in this webinar. So please turn on your camera and stand by while my colleague will screenshot and take a group picture of all of us.
And thank you everyone for joining in. It was pleasure talking to you all here.
Okay, we'll just give them a little bit more time to turn on their cameras.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, smile. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's take another one, yeah? Okay, 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay. Okay, Mr.
Thank you.
Anand, is there anything else you would like to cover before we wrap up?
If there's any question, yes, I can give the answers, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, one last question or something like that.
Okay. Is there any one last
Any
question?
any one last question? Yeah, if you have questions later, you can always email me also, no problem.
So thank you very much to everyone for attending this session. And thank you, Mr. Anand, for this
Thank
insightful
you.
webinar.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
all,
you.
and happy weekend, and enjoy the rest of the festival. And I'm sure you're going to learn a lot of stuff. Thank you. Thank you once again. Thank you all. Bye.
Okay, bye. See you all.
Bye.